This is the DLLS Dallas Stars post-game show. No cold open tonight because we are on remote, all in our own abodes. Looks like Luddy finally came in. Craig Ludwig. Sam Nestler is in Philadelphia. We will talk to him in a little bit. Sean Shapiro, are you still in the Arboretum or have we moved to another location?
This is technically the dining room, but there's a plant.
So he's not in the plant room.
There's a plant in this room. There's very few rooms in this house without plants. So
you answered my follow-up question,
yes,
so I appreciate that.
Yes,
John Anderson, our producer, is here. For those of you in the chat already, and we appreciate you joining us live here at DLS. John, because we are doing a remote hosting broadcast tonight due to all the winter weather in Dallas and the treacherous roads, we do not have all. I know Wisconsin, I get it. I'm the same. But anyway, we do not have all of the drops that you love. We have a couple, but not nearly as many. So it won't be quite. Well, he has that one. That's good. It won't be quite as boisterous from producer John as we normally do, but we'll do our best.
Get ready, boys.
Yeah, that's right. We got a couple of good ones. And we have some super chats already loading up. So get to those. Segment 3, super chats. If you don't fill them up, we'll go with the regular chats because I know everybody wanted Luddy's Pillar of Fire to be a regular staple of the broadcast tonight. Well, guys,
how many super chats do you need to be able to get the installation of the Pillar of Fire in the studio?
Well, that's a Ludwig question. Is how much in the super chats do we need for a permanent installation?
Aren't we going to see the speaking of fire, are we going to see Steve Spot's fireball eyes tonight or no?
I don't know. Do you have those graphics, John? I'm not sure if he does. This is I don't think he does. All right. Well, guys, Luddy, let's start with you. Yeah, he just texted us. No, he does not have that. Was that the most one-sided Stars game in a victory fashion that we've seen so far this year as far as a comprehensive, I don't want to say domination because it's not like the Flyers didn't have scoring chances. They didn't, but it felt like Dallas was in control of this from the early onset and they carried it throughout the night. I mean, there wasn't really a point where you ever really worried about the outcome. Were you?
No, I mean, let's face it. Philly's a bit challenged, from their lineup and what's in and what's not in there. And, and I had mentioned in the pregame show that I listened to Torts's post-practice thing today. And one of the things that he mentioned also is he wanted his defenseman in front of his net. And basically to me, when a coach says that, they're trying to pack things in and make it as difficult as they can for pucks to go in because of, as Sean mentioned in the pregame show, because of their goaltending situation. And so they're trying to win hockey games 2-1. And it was on display tonight. So, and Dallas was Dallas. And, there were some guys that I thought had some really good games, and I'll mention them right off the top. I thought Mavrik Bourque was he followed up his last game that Pete threw flowers at him, and he did exactly that. He was good. And, their lines got to roll tonight, and I think they were able to wear Philly down.
Sean, your overarching feeling of this contest before we break it down to your favorite segment, which is goal by goal, chronological order. Just the big picture here. What are your thoughts?
Well, first off, I have the game sheet right here, so I can just read that line by line if you'd like, just so.
I want you to turn on the NHL play-by-play sheet and read every action of the game from start to finish with appropriate times.
We could do it and use the dramatic old-timey voices at a 1:45. Mavrik Bourque scored. We could go.
No. I'm talking about the real detailed ones where you go with at 20 minutes or 0. The anthem, followed by the first face-off, Matt Duchene versus Ryan Palin.
Oh, well, I mean, I could go even more in depth.
We lost Luddy already.
At 19 seconds, puck in the netting. Philadelphia 1 offensive zone draw. Dallas 53 Johnston versus number 11 Konechny.
He hates the game recap so much he would rather do this for 20 minutes.
I thought entertaining. Yeah, and it is. But
I mean, maybe you don't have to say anything.
From the game perspective, I agree with Lutz. This game for me there was never a spot that I ever felt the Flyers were going to win throughout this game. But it's both the way the game was played and the way that the Stars could have effectively lost this game is if their goaltender basically let them down and everything like that. So I kind of looked at this game. It's like, okay, I don't know about dominant, but just statement where no one in that building watched this game and was like, oh, the Flyers should or could have won this game. And that's what good teams do on the road, right? That's like this. I talk often about the Stars are a good team. They're in that group of the teams that should, one of the 4 or 5 teams that should come out of the West. And if you can go on the road and you can do this and you can make the other team effectively have no chance of winning and beating a lesser opponent, that to me is a statement. It doesn't have to be 6-0. It doesn't have to be 5-0. A statement can just be, hey, we got the lead, we took care of business, and now we can effectively start looking forward to this weekend in the back-to-back without worrying about details falling apart in the final 2 periods here.
You were paying attention to the game tonight to see what how many plays Dallas was going to make through them, around them, past them, chances at the net. So your focus was on Dallas tonight, not really, like Sean said, you didn't really expect anything to pop out of Philly, unless Michkov was going to make some kind of an end-to-ender, you know what I mean? And that didn't happen.
Well, to Sean's point, the fact that they had the big lead and kind of controlled things through the third period. I haven't looked at the game times yet, the time on ice. I would imagine that Pete DeBoer and his staff are already managing that with the idea of this weekend's back-to-back in mind, which is a luxury you only get when you have a multi-goal lead in a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, also, was there a Dallas Stars player that would tax tonight? I mean, was there any part of the game, do you think that, I think they managed the game within the game, because you were able to, I think this was a game and a team that you can roll your pairings, you could roll your 4 lines if he wanted to. I'm not saying that he did, but I don't think that you ever felt that there was somebody on the other team that could hurt or take advantage of anybody on your 4th line or on your 3rd pairing.
Yeah, to Owen, to your point, I did just pull it up. So to give you an idea, for the Stars, from a forward perspective, no forward, the highest for any forward was 1701 tonight.
Wow.
And the lowest was 1322. Right? Like, you talk about
that's real balance for 4 lines.
That's real balance. Like, if you, now knowing you haven't looked, I'm curious, just if you had to guess, which Stars forward do you think led them in time on ice tonight?
Wyatt Johnston.
That would have been my guess. He always seems to be the one.
It was Sam Steele.
Wow.
And I'll put it this way: if Sam Steele is, and this is nothing against Sam Steele, this is just reflective of how the game went. If Sam Steele is leading your forwards in time on ice, that's a really good night, and that's not against Sam Steele. That's just reflective of when you can have his type of game, and you can reward him with a little bit more minutes than he normally gets. And then at the same time, you don't have to tax everyone else. Like you say, Wyatt Johnston was at 1458 tonight. Every single player that normally gets taxed a bit wasn't. And then
partly because they didn't have any power play time, or at least not very much.
Yeah, but to me, that's one of the biggest things, especially going into a back-to-back this weekend, right? Where I don't think you can ever win. I don't think you can ever win future games in a game like this. It's not like what you did on Thursday can help you win, but it can definitely, sometimes it can be taxing and carry over to losses, right? Where if you played a game where, hey, like Miro only played 22 minutes tonight, right? Like when Miro looks
very low for him.
Yeah, when Miro looks a bit fresher in the 3rd period on Sunday in the 2nd game of a back-to-back, that's the type of things where you can circle back. Okay, this is part of not having that additional 7 minutes of wear and tear.
On that note,
those are the games that the coaches love too, because when they win at the end of the 1st period and they see the minutes, although Miro played a lot in the 1st period, I think Miro's minutes were probably up there. Weren't they around 7 or 8 minutes?
Yeah, we can. I guess I'm statistician.
You can pull up the time on ice sheet if you want to do the math real quick.
Yeah,
While you do that, last question for you.
What I was going to say is through the game, when they come in and they look and they see all their players' minutes and they go, well, this is perfect. Now the game is going the way we want. We can afford to give some minutes to, whether it's Bourque or like Steele or Beck, guys like that. Huru probably was up. His minutes may have been up tonight from normal also.
Yeah, they were. He was around 13 and a half tonight, which is up a nice little uptick for him. I mean, Miro was at 8:02 to answer the question. Miro was at 8:18 in the 1st period.
Yeah, that was a fair amount for him.
And then dropped all the way 3rd period of 6:43 for him in the 3rd period, which is a nice conservation of energy there. So,
Luds, Ken Hitchcock, your old boss, when he came back to coach the Stars the second time, he would frequently tell us how much he felt the third game of 4 days was worse energy-wise than the back-to-back, the second night. He would constantly say, I'm not worried about the back-to-back. I'm worried about the third game in 4. And he would repeat that over and over again. That's with this back-to-back coming up. That will be the Ottawa game on Sunday will be the third in 4. I'm just curious, when you were playing, did you have a lot of those on your schedule like they do nowadays?
I don't think we had as many as they do nowadays. Nowadays, it just seems like it's common. That I don't know. It just didn't seem like we had those. And I think, then, Hitch kind of rode, especially some of the big guys, the forward group, the top 5, guys, he rode them all the time. He would find the proper time, like you're talking about in that second game of the 3 out of 4. If there was the ability to ride the bottom 4 guys and get them more minutes, he was very cognizant of trying to make sure that some of those guys, and they weren't happy about it. No, nobody is. They would rather have the minutes, because if they're getting time off, it means that it's probably against a lesser team. And if it's against a lesser team, those guys want to be on the ice because they want to get their points.
It is definitely a point night. All right, let's do a quick recap of this. So start in this segment. We'll continue over. Luddy, I really liked your comment about Mavrik Bourque because he had a great game against the Rangers, and he followed it up, especially that first period. He scored the goal. He had a couple other quality chances. That was the big question mark. This morning, Pete DeBoer said the idea is to get those young players like Bourque more consistency. So it's not just, you have to have a recovery game or you've got to have a response game because you had a bad game. Because he said that Bourque's game the other night, which was against Utah, wasn't very good. And so his game against the Rangers was a response game. Well, tonight he showed a lot of consistency from Tuesday to tonight, did he?
So I notice Mavrik as much in his own zone as I do in the offensive zone. Sean, how many feet from the goal line to the boards are there?
Feet from behind the net, you mean?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's I think it's 7 right now. I believe it's 7.
So,
yeah.
So 14, 100 minus 14 is what that? No, I'm sorry, 200. 200. So that's 176?
No, 186. 86. We're doing math. We're doing math live.
So you know how you talk about players playing that 200-foot game? Well, he was exactly 186 then, because he went in front of Casey down to the other end to score a goal in front of Urson. I mean, that is the epitome of a centerman, and that's the centerman's job. Centermen are supposed to play well in both ends of their ring. And that's exactly what Bourque did, is he breaks up a play down in his own end, and then ultimately he's down at the other end of the rink to score a goal.
By the way, it is supposed to be 11 feet from the goal line to the end boards, but that doesn't take into account the depth of the goal. So in the trapezoid, there's less room behind the net than in the corners. In case you wanted to really get into the weeds on that. Right after that, guys, there was a Tyson Forster redirection at the crease. Backdoor pass. He had the open net. He just flubbed it and put it wide. And they did this a couple of times tonight, Sean, where they were trying to get a guy right on top of the crease, fire it in, and try to redirect it. And a couple of times they were that play was on, but Philadelphia wasn't able to execute and score on it.
They run, and I've seen Philly in person. I didn't watch them in person tonight, but I've watched Philly in person twice so far this season before watching them tonight, obviously on television. But there's a lot of that element to their game where it's the, whatever you want to call it, the trying to get that low tip, or because it's partially a reflection of it's a hard getting to the hard areas. I think it's also a little bit reflective of the way Tortorella thinks this team is built, where he wants, it's the type of offense he can try to funnel through everyone, right? Like it's part of, hey, you go to this area, you go to this spot, you try to get a piece of it, you try to get to a tip of it, as opposed to the game that Michkov plays, and obviously he plays a little bit of a different game from the rest of the team. So it is a bit of the Philly MO. It's not a bad thing for anyone to have, but I think one thing with the Flyers, and I was talking when I saw them play, I think it was like December 16th or 17th, I saw them play in person. It was the last time I saw them play in person. I talked to somebody about it, where they brought up that one of the things is they get a little bit too channeled to that sometimes, where there's times where it's not a bad play and it can create some offense, but there are some times where the players don't take the other shot or they don't find the other open man because they've become a little bit programmed to that play. So it's kind of one of those like damned if you do, damned if you don't type things for the Flyers, where the Stars, you have to recognize it and respect it. But I also think if Philly was had a little bit more skill and creativity, they're not trying to win games 2-1 the way Luds was talking about earlier.
I'll tell you what, that from a defenseman standpoint is you would think it'd be harder to play against, but it's easier because it's predictable. Yeah. And all you really know you need to be is you need to be the guy that battles harder in front of your own net. And if you can seal them away before they get there, you know where the defenseman used to play in front of their own net that part there.
Well, I'm laughing because on the next goal, which we'll talk about after the break, there was no battle in front with the defenseman. And I can't wait for Luddy to tear the Flyers defense apart next year on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Is this me? Okay, let's talk about Sleeper. It is the best fantasy football league platform out there. One of the fantasy football leagues I'm in actually uses it, and I love the ability to search for and make trades. My team went from 1-7 to finishing 7-8. We missed the playoffs, but the tear down and rebuild almost worked. But in addition to the fantasy sports, you can put your ball knowledge or puck knowledge, whichever way you want me to go off of this read, to the test by picking your favorite or least favorite Ovechkin players that will have more or less than their projected stats each week or each night. So for tonight, I'm looking at the app right now, and look how quick it loads. I'm going with the Jack Eichel's projected to have half an assist. I'm going to say he's going to have more. I think that seems like a good idea. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, and all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of the league updates in real time, so you'll always be informed and ready and to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS STARS to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply to any contest. Doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Thank you, Sean. Let's talk about the East-West Shrine Bowl. America's oldest college football all-star game is being held right here in Texas on January 30th. Be a part of history in the making at the 100th East-West Shrine Bowl at AT&T Stadium. Some of the largest names in football have played in the East-West Shrine Bowl, like Tom Brady, Walter Payton, Roger Staubach, Lawrence Taylor, and more. The East-West Shrine Bowl has served as the starting point for many noteworthy NFL careers, including 80 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and more than 200 members of the College Football Hall of Fame. Tickets start at just $20. You can visit shrinebowl.com to buy your tickets today. Okay, Luddy, it's time for you to shine and tell us about this goal. Roope Hintz, team leading 19th of the year, gets his own rebound. Nice play by Dodonov to set him up. But what I saw, which looked like a football splitting of the uprights on a field goal, was not something I think you teach to defend your own net.
I wish we were tuned into Torts' presser right now. I don't think he's there yet. He's still ripping Sealer and Sanheim. And I had said in the pregame show, they only had 2 defensemen that were in the plus category. Well, there aren't any anymore. So I don't know if they're out there for anymore. But it was like when Hintz went to the far post for that pass from Dodonov, and he basically splits the 2 defensemen. And nobody touches him. The first defenseman was that, I think Sealer was the first one. Sanheim might have been in front of the net. Well, Sealer doesn't do anything to him. He just skates right by him. And then Sanheim lets him skate behind him, and they're both attracted to the puck. Bottom line, they're both staring at the puck. They're staring at the play. And Roope just kind of stands in the back, right off the back post. And then Sealer makes there's a nice lane. Sanheim's stick is actually out in front of him. Hintz is behind him. That doesn't make sense. So it was just a nice little pass and a tap in. It was probably one of the easier goals that, when Roope goes to the front net, usually has to battle a little. He fights his way through there and gets there. This one, there was no glass broken on this one.
You said the other day you really like when Roope goes to the net. Why?
Well, because he stays there. I think there's a lot of forwards that will drive to the net, and then for some reason at the end of it, they drift away from the front. Roope, I give him credit for the way he comes out from behind the net. When there's plays that go from behind the goal line and they move out higher to the crease or out to the point, he fights his way to the front of the net. And he comes behind defensemen, and if he gets that space, if he can, he'll stay there. Otherwise, he rolls off, and then he gets out in front of the defenseman to gain position with him. So, and that's where the defensemen are supposed to be. So what you do is you find a way to battle with them. Roope finds a way to battle with them. But the other thing I think he does, he's not as good as Joe Pavelski is, which I don't think we have the ding. He's not the same.
There it is.
Oh, I like that. So not as good as JP used to be, because he would be out and he'd be able to get his stick on it. Hintz will kind of shove his way off if he has to get a redirection of it or a little tip in. But I love it when he goes there. He's a big man, and you're not going to move him. But to me, it's all about his mentality. It's the growth in him. It tells me that he's willing to go to the hard areas to score goals now, along with all the other ones that usually have something to do with his speed.
Well, Sean, up 2-0 after the first period, even though the Flyers had one more quality chance. I had the Stars at the better of the high danger chances by a 4-1 margin in that first period. They were much, much more dangerous, even though Philly was getting pucks on Casey DeSmith. The second period, after a Noah Cates wrist shot in the high slot to start the period, I had the next 10 quality chances going to the Dallas Stars. It felt like one-way traffic, including that 4-minute shift for Rasmus Ristolainen. I almost felt bad for him. Not really, but they did everything but score. I thought the Blackwell chance with the diving Urson save was probably the best, but just it felt like if there was any doubt of Dallas being up in this game and carrying it on, they wore out. It was like a couple rounds of body shots absorbed by the Flyers in that period and during that chunk of time.
Yeah, it was to continue like the boxing example of it. I remember it's one of the times like you would go and someone would watch, if you would watch like a Floyd Mayweather fight, and it would be really boring.
Really boring.
You'd be really boring. And you'd be like, why does anyone watch this? And you'd watch, but you'd realize, oh, just eat the clock, burn the clock, and just you had the lead, you dominated possession, and by that you'd look up and like, oh, all the time's gone and it's over. And that's really the way this game, and that the 4-minute shift for Ristolainen is obviously the biggest embodiment of it. But that's how this entire game felt like for Philly, where it's like it was just kind of, well, there's this clock that's tick 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 ticking, and it just there it goes. And I know they get the goal, and I'll let you, but the Stars get the goal too. That feels like, but even to me, even if they don't get that goal that makes it 3-0, like even if say they go into the third period up 2-0, there was still nothing about the game flow where that third goal changed anything for me. Like I felt like the Stars could have won this game 2-0, and it would have been a boring, dominant 2-0 win.
It would have been hitch hockey, wouldn't it, Luds? Get a couple goal lead and just smother the game.
Yeah, exactly. And you wear them down and tire them out, and you make it boring, and the fans are booing and they're leaving, and it's a good road game.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the Wyatt Johnston goal was a thing of beauty, and that line continues to score. You know how, Sean, in the pregame, you were like, oh, you mentioned plus minus and said, yeah, for those that still care about that stat, Luddy talks about it. Look, the NHL players that are active in this league still talk about it. Matt Duchene was on the ticket yesterday afternoon during, I think it was the 1 to 3 show, and he mentioned the line with Benn and Johnson. He said, I think we're +7 or +8. That stuff still matters, doesn't it, Luds, over the longer period of time? Maybe not plus minus in a single game like some of the other advanced analytics, but if you're +8 in 5 or 6 games, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. If you're -8 in that stretch of time, it gets noticed.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the offensive guys, when they're using that term, what it's really saying is we're spending a lot more time down at that end of the ring. I don't know if it's as much as, like for guys like me that had no other kind of stats, you really wanted to be plus, wanted something positive. So, but I'll tell you what impressed me the most, didn't impress me. It just made a statement for me when Wyatt got that puck on his stick and Duchene is driving to the net and he shows him his stick. Yes, there was a defenseman that I think probably would have picked it off or made a play on it. Wyatt never even thought about it. He never even had an intention of making that pass. He's in that frame of mind now that we had talked about early in the season. He's got to shoot everything, and that's how I think he thrives on his game, and they'll start going in. Now he believes that when he shoots it, it's going in the net.
The Stars did not have a power play until the third period. They had, as Luddy called it, the new worst lead in hockey, 3-0, the 3-goal lead. And Dodonov hit the crossbar with a great shot from the left dot. I thought the first power play unit was trash again. Still waiting for the coaches to listen to our show and realize that they should probably have Thomas Harley quarterbacking the first unit. But the second unit had a couple chances. Dodonov hit the crossbar. Bourque had a nice shot from the top of the circle. Again, he looks completely different. But then the two best chances before they scored for the Flyers were Owen Tippett comes out of the box and comes racing down to the left dot, and he hit the post. Could have scored there. Scott Lawton had a redirection at the top of the crease. Sean, this was that second one I was talking about, and he put it wide. Either one of those goes in with an open net, and maybe that's different. But, you know, Morgan Frost gets a goal and spoils the shutout. That was really the only blemish on the night for Casey DeSmith. Yeah,
I thought for DeSmith it was a night that one of the things I like about Casey DeSmith's game is he's not a cookie-cutter goalie in today's NHL. There are basically the position is there's not styles in the NHL like it used to be for goaltending. It used to be like, oh, well, this guy's a hybrid, this guy's a butterfly, this guy's a stand-up, right? Like different goal. Now, every single goalie is effectively plays the same base game with maybe you're a little stronger in one area than the other, but DeSmith is a little bit different in his save selection, and I like it. It's part of it is it makes it a little bit more entertaining to watch from on one hand. The other thing about it too is you see, and did we just lose Owen Lutz? Or are we just going without him right now? Is that what's happening?
I'm right here.
Okay, I saw you circling for a second. It was.
I think that's your connection more than mine.
No, that's my connection. Okay.
Keep going. You're doing fine.
With DeSmith, I think there's I think my favorite the Michkov, there's the Michkov chance where Michkov tries to beat him over the shoulder, right? Tries for the bank off the back of his head.
That's before the Frost goal.
Yeah, but that's a play where there's a lot of NHL goalies where that's where the reverse VH dooms them, because they don't move off that spot. They stay in the reverse VH right there. And they effectively, as they're like off the post and using their shoulder here, they effectively don't move. And I know it may have hit the post. I'm not sure if it hit Casey's head, but either way, you see him torque his body back this way, right? Like you see him actually be an athlete about the play. Where I know
Buddy's laughing because you said twerk.
No, your picture. You were still talking, but your picture was stuck. And then when you came back, all we saw was this.
I saw the same thing.
So he turns he actually is an athlete on the play and makes a play on it that's not just I'm going to sit here and rely only on a foundation and everything like that. So I really like what DeSmith brings, and I think from a Stars perspective, it goes back to one of the things that I remember when the heyday of Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin, a scout from another team once told me that one of the things that made them so good about pushing each other wasn't just that they played so well together, it's that you had to prep a little bit differently for Ben Bishop than you did for Anton Khudobin. And so even though it's only a little bit of a delay or a little bit of a change to your day, it adds another dynamic to your team. And if we keep going, before the game, we talked about the kind of changing and rotating goalies a little bit more. It adds an element to this team. So
let me ask you one more thing, Sean.
Are we getting to a break?
Yeah, we probably should. You want to carry this over? Because I have another goalie question for Sean about DeSmith. Let's do that next and then get to your super chats on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
I think this is the first time I've ever had 2 ad reads in the same show. So that's
How about Luddy getting 0? He's loving it.
I know. Well, let's talk about Saturday.
One for Miller Lite right here.
Let's talk about Saturday Neon. Started by 2 college friends. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logos, LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm, room, fan cave, or bar. I bet a good one could fit right over Lud's shoulder there next to that picture, that signed picture. It would fit really well there. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. They've got Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your signs for years to come. It's the perfect gift for, well, I guess this says upcoming holiday season, so the read is lying to me. It's a perfect gift for any time of year, even if the holiday season has passed. So head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off on your favorite sign.
Thank you, Sean. Let's talk about Shady Rays. It doesn't have to be the holiday season anymore for you to get great quality shades, which are built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And I don't have any within reach. It's over there, and unfortunately, I don't want to go out of the frame, so I won't put them on tonight. But they're great. I have multiple pairs. I bought a couple, even though they also gave some of us a free pair. Again, I'm sorry, Luds. Sean, you're supposed to get them. Did they ever make it to you? I don't think so.
They have not yet, no.
Yeah, they're somewhere. They're probably in Ben's car, and he's probably wearing them, our GM.
Yeah.
But what you can do is make sure you take care of Shady Rays with all the great features and the lost and stolen replacements and all of your other things that you love about it worry-free. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of any season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try today the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Okay, we are going to get to your super chats, but before we do, Luds had a carryover question to Sean about goaltending, and I had another DeSmith question for Sean about a particular save he made. So Luds, go ahead.
I have no carryover question for Sean for goaltending. All I was going to do, I was going to say, when you brought up that first power play, they made 7 passes to each other. Then they got the puck to the net that got knocked down. And then they made 3 more passes all around the perimeter.
This was the first unit.
And it went around the ice, down the ice. Yep, that was it. That's all I had to say in case anybody wasn't counting.
What'd you see from the second unit, though? Because they did get 2 scoring chances.
There's a difference. There's directness. I don't think that's a word, but there's directness in that group. The other group is looking for that perfect play yet, I think. And again, 7 passes before they even attempt a shot.
Remember the 4-on-3 in overtime 2 games ago, which was against Utah. That top group of 4-on-3 tried to force it. Same thing. And it was when they went around the triangle and went to the front of the net to jamiebenn, they scored the winner.
Works.
Yep. Sean, you were talking about Casey DeSmith, and I have to bring up the save he made on Owen Tippett after it was 3-1. I don't think Tippett got a great shot off, but he was trying to collect a pass maybe through the legs, and instead of waiting for him to get it and maybe roof one, DeSmith charged him out, and he got above the crease, and he did sort of a split pad close down, and I'm doing this not just for Luddy's sake, but it reminded me of a soccer goalkeeper's charge out where they do almost like the Peter Schmeichel starfish jump. And he made himself big, and he took away Tippett's ability to make any kind of a move. What do you think of that, and just any other things about DeSmith?
I think that's called scrambling.
I for one, I'd like to think, I don't know if I'd love to see you have to explain the Peter Schmeichel starfish jump to Luds. That's a sentence that like
he would love it. He would love it. Luds is all about improvised defense.
I mean, I was going to say it was definitely reminiscent of the old street hockey attempt where you just, whatever, there's a bunch of chaos and everyone can lift the orange Milek ball. So you might as well get there as quick as possible. So yeah, to me, it's Casey DeSmith being an athlete. And that's one of the things that the position doesn't have a ton of right now. Like, you have to be an athlete to play, but a lot of the athleticism gets coached out of goalies now, because it's you do this and you do that in this situation. And for me, looking at DeSmith play, there's so many elements of his game that he's an athlete, he's relying on athleticism, and he does have foundation, but the bigger piece is he can take some risks like that and he's willing to do it. So it's a big confidence thing too, right? Where that's a play where, for me, I remember one thing a big goalie coach thing always told me was, you can be a decision maker but you can't get caught in between. And that's one of those where I love that decision by Casey DeSmith. So go and do it. If you get caught in between, that's where it becomes an awkward little chip over and you get scored on.
Are you guys ready for some super chats? All right, it's time. Let's get to them. We have at least 4 that I see. We'll start with T Farmer with a little Steel Bourque tonight. I like that. I don't know if we've seen a 22 yet in the super chat. T Farmer says, I think I saw Mav say to Steel, quote, "You can be my wingman anytime." 22 played a heck of a first 2 periods, and it's a new year, new page. He was good tonight.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
I agree with all that.
What is a follow-up to both of you? We'll start with Lutz. What does this team look different, or how does it look different with Mavrik Bourque starting to be more of a contributor at both ends of the rink, but especially the offensive side?
Well, I think you're naturally going to say it's got some more depth. It's got some more speed. There's some more flow to the game. You know, and I think he was, again, I think when he first got going here, he was just trying to figure it out. And now, you know, I think he listened to Pete, and I'm sure they talked to him a lot about it. And now you got to put one on top of the other. And now he knows what they're looking for. And all they're looking for is him to be Mavrik Bourque of the last 3, 4, 5 years, wherever he was at. And I think now we're seeing who that was.
That's exactly what happened on that goal. Like that goal that he scored tonight, the full one net front to the other, making a little play in his own end, going to the space. That's what we saw last year when he was the league MVP in the AHL. That's exactly what we saw before. And I saw confidence. To me, I'm watching him play the past couple games. I think there was some confidence was missing, and I don't know whether it's a mental reset or just I don't know what he did, but there's something that's happened in the past week where he seems to have found a bit of that confidence just to be himself, and that to me is doing a world of difference for him right now.
Sean, I think he was playing not to make a mistake, so we can.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Now they've given him the rope, and they probably had those conversations. We know who you are. You know, yes, we want you to be accountable. Yeah, but we just want you to play.
Well, there's also a silver lining spot of it too, Luds, where I'm not silver lining of it, but there's a, like, if you're a player and you're looking at the depth chart, when Mason Marchment and Tyler Seguin are healthy, all of a sudden you're a little bit worried about, like, well, geez, I got to hold my spot because I'm going to be out. Mason Marchment being out, seeing other guys having to call forwards up. I can only imagine that is a bit of an easier selling point as a player, where it's like, you know what? I get some runway here, because it's not like Mason Marchment's coming back tomorrow and someone's going to be out of the lineup. I mean, I know it's not maybe from an individual player perspective, obviously the Dallas Stars are a much better team when Mason Marchment is in the lineup. But from Mavrik Bourque's individual space, maybe there's a slight look at that of like, oh, I have some runway here to be myself and play my game, because I can't be taken out of the lineup the next game just because someone's going to pop because of this injury depth, how it's hurting right now. I think that it might have something to it, might not, but I think it's something that it's either a coincidence or causation. So,
did you guys, either of you, feel, and tell me if you think I'm completely losing it, but I don't think I am. The last couple of games, I think that line of Steele, Bourque, and Stankoven have started to show a gelling, a click that we didn't see when they first got put together. Remember a few games ago when Pete and his staff finally said, we're going to load up the top 2 lines. We're going to play them a little heavier. They're playing well, and we just need to do that. And Huru didn't play much. Bourque got sat. That was I think it was the Utah game when they were getting outplayed in the second period. Well, now suddenly it's not looking like this team is so top heavy that they have to rely just on lines 1 and 2. And having that third line going to a level that they weren't even 2 games ago, to me, seems like a really big improvement for the group.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that Mavrik has gone, or not Mavrik. Stank has gone through the process of don't make mistakes. We're good. You're not going to make mistakes. Just go play. We like who you are. I think now what they're doing is they're playing freer. And they play free and they're creative, and now they're just who they are. And I just think it took probably a lot of conversations with the coaches to say, listen, like I just earlier said, this is who we believe you are. Go out and show us that's who you are. And I think that takes a load off of their back, thinking, you know what, if I make a mistake in this area of the ice, I'm not getting benched for a whole period because of it. You can't play that way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to our next one. That was a very nice super chat that got us talking. So let's go to number 2.
Bing bong.
A Robertson and Ludwig. It could be Dumba, but it's Ludwig. I love Misty in 1985. Great to go up 3-0, get a 4th goal, and still get a win considering the Rangers did the same thing to us last game and lost. We're now 40-0 since the beginning of the 21-22 season when we do that. Thank you, Casey DeSmith. It's a great stat.
Wait, so they're 40-0 when going up 4-0? Can we pull that?
No. Up 3-0 and then scoring a 4th goal.
Okay. I was okay. That makes more sense then. Okay.
Stars literally beat the Rangers. The Rangers did that and lost in overtime. The Stars have not apparently lost.
I just had a hard time believing they had 40 games where they were up 4-0. That's where I was. That's where I
not
was
necessarily
4-0.
Yeah.
That's where I was. That's where I was kind of double checking and making sure I had that right. Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
Bing bong.
Do we have a stat checker?
Yeah, he's in Philadelphia right now. Ardell with a little Lundqvist and Lindell. Are the Dallas Stars an excellent defensive team? What does your eye test or the nerd math tell you about their team, defense, and systems? Well, for nerd math, we'll probably go to Luds, and the eye test for Sean.
Yes, exactly.
What say you two?
I will say that they're a good defensive team because of the way they play offensively. I think that they have puck possession players. They have players that are able to make plays when they're all on their game, and they basically defend by playing in the other 2 zones. They're not in their own end. There are times when they get in their own end when it's a little chaos, things happen, certain players get out of certain positions, and you're relying on your goaltender. But again, when you've got a good goaltender and you're not giving up more than, I don't even know what it would be, 5, 6 quality scoring chances, your goaltender generally makes most of those.
Yeah. If you want nerd math, and this isn't too big of a nerd math, but
we want nerd math.
I know,
but the question.
Yeah, but I just pulled up now right through, and I don't know if this counts tonight's game or not, so it might have to be updated after tonight. But you go to Natural Stat Trick right now, and you look at the Stars when it comes to go to back up Lud's point, and this is where what you're seeing matches the numbers. According to Natural, so far this year, the Stars have, at all situations, they have 1,252 scoring chances. They've created 1,252 scoring chances. They've allowed 1,033. That's 200, and Owen, you can do the rough math for me. That's 219, maybe 209, sure. 219. They've had 219 more scoring chances than they've allowed. And
if you're plus 200 in chances through 40 games of the season, I would think that's a good thing, that you're creating more than you're allowing.
Yeah, and so that to me backs up everything Ludge was just talking about, where they're a good offensive team. They're playing in the other end a lot. And then the other thing for me too, just from a defensive standpoint, that you take a look at the thing that they don't really, the thing that they don't do is they don't create as many problems for themselves. And I don't have a number to back this up or anything like that, but you watch a lot of teams in the defensive zone and you watch how they handle things, and you see, I saw the highlight from the Colorado game tonight where the Colorado, I don't know who had it behind the net, but dished it right to the Minnesota player dished it right to the Colorado player in front of the net for the goal. I think the Stars are, while there are mistakes, and we talk about some of the tactical fallacies in the way they decide to cover around the net, they don't go and make some of those egregious errors that I see a lot of other NHL teams make more frequently in their own end.
What they don't do, Sean, I think, they don't give the puck away to the other team in their own zone.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, they make so many good small area passes. They put it into an area where one of the teammates can skate into it, pick it up, and go. They have good support. Their issue is when the other team comes in with control and they've got people that can start, changing lanes, and they know how to run little picks, and then all of a sudden guys that you would typically think would be in this area of the ice aren't.
Yeah, and to continue the point too of you talk about just playing pucks area, I think another person who effectively sets the tone on this and is a leader of this defense, and we talk about him a lot, but he doesn't get talked a lot about because of the other bigger names on the team or who play more flashy, sexier roles. But like Esa Lindell, to me, has really defined so much what this defense does, right? Like there's a lot of people have looked at like, oh, Esa dumps the puck out too much. There's too much of that high flip, or there's too many times where Esa has the puck and it doesn't really do anything offensively. Well, there's so many times where Esa does that and makes that decision because there's the realization that it's better to do that than create the turnover in zone. And I'm not saying that Esa Lindell needs to be doing it every single time, but I think that's a big part. When you have a leader on your defense, when you have someone who understands a little bit of that positional game, there's the off and out. As simple as it is a bit of a lost art in the league. There's a lot of defensemen who create problems for themselves because they don't realize that off the glass and out is actually a good play.
What Esa does besides the lob is he makes the good first pass.
Yes.
And it's not the breakaway pass. It's an outlet pass to somebody that can make the breakaway pass or that gets the flow going the other way. And generally when he passes it, makes that first pass, that player is not under duress. He's got time. Did Sean just fall asleep or did his screen for? Okay.
No, I'm still. I could. I
can understand. But when he makes that pass to somebody, that player, I believe, knows that he's getting the pass from him because I've got time to get my head up and make another play. That he just makes the correct outlet pass.
Well, we have lots more to talk about and a couple more super chats. We'll do it on the other side of the break here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Let's talk about being a diehard. One of the great perks of being a diehard is you get a promo code for a free DLLS t-shirt of your choice for each year that you sign up. Look at that. Luddy doesn't have trouble with it. He knows exactly how to find the QR code.
Yeah.
You could get the DLS flag shirt in the Dallas Stars green that I'm wearing tonight. Hard to see with this logo, but it's something like that. Luddy has that as well, although the other day it was in a little plastic bag because he just got a new one because he tried to put on one that was a size too small and then washed and dried, and apparently it didn't go very well. But I digress. Go to the QR code, go to alldlls.com, click on Die Hard, sign up today. Not only will you get great coverage from Sean and Sam, but all of the writers at DLS that cover the Stars, the Mavericks, the Rangers, the Cowboys, and you get access to the Discord next Wednesday during our lone podcast show of the week because of all the games. Luddy is going to be subjected to another version of the damn Discord channel with Luds. Nice. The only way you get to the Discord is being a diehard. So sign up today, QR code, alldls.com. We appreciate your support. Help grow our show and our company at DLLS, our branch of the All City Network. All right, Sam is here. Apparently his audio doesn't sound great, and we might have to throw him out. Hi, Sam.
I don't know if I fixed it. Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Oh, snap. We in. What's up, boys?
Are you getting thrown out of the building again like at MSG?
I think this press box is too big. I don't think they can find me where I am.
To be fair, I probably should have warned you about that. MSG is notable for but you gotta learn some things on your own here, bud.
You saw where I ended up. I ended up in the fake background. It was sick.
Hey, we have 2 more super chats. Let's get to those after Sam, though. Let's get to Sam. He's here. Let's not keep him waiting, but we will get to your other super chats. If you have any more that file in, we don't have to drive home tonight, Lud, so a few extra minutes won't kill us.
Well, we got to drive home, though.
Sam, we were talking about it in the show before you joined us. That was about as comprehensive of a performance and a win for the Stars over an opponent that I can think of this season. Is that the tenor, the tone that was taken with the players and coaches afterwards?
Absolutely. I think they feel like a lot of things came together during this streak, but specifically in this game. I mean, there were times where they looked like a varsity team playing against a JV team. It was skating circles for 2 minutes. Flyers barely be able to get it out. Stars put it right back in and put the pressure on. I heard you guys talking about that third line. They looked great. The fourth line looked great. It just felt like everything was rolling, and that is definitely the tone here. And something they felt was coming, right? It felt like that over the time we kept talking about it. They just needed to get a few more goals and just needed to break out of that slump a little bit. And all of a sudden they were going to start winning a lot more games. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
I'm laughing because already it says, we have a chat that says Sam getting tossed from the Garden for being on the plumbing threat list. And then T Farmer said sexy waffle stomp Sam. So you got a little bit of both there.
Positive, negative.
There's actually a comment in the tweets about the booing in Philadelphia. I was going to ask you that. How prominent was that from the arena? How much the fans were not happy with their home team Flyers tonight?
It was very loud and it was very quick. They did not have a lot. I mean, you know why. This has been a very tough year for them. They felt like they were going to be a much better team. They looked bad, and it felt like every time they got stuck in their own end, like I mentioned, they just got standing still and spinning. And I think that's what led to it more, was that it just felt like they weren't able to do anything. And the power play didn't look good all of a sudden first period, and then they end it and they're getting booed off the ice. Second period, Stars got to add another one and they're getting booed off the ice. And I'm telling you, the arena was pretty empty to start with, but it was a lot more empty after midway through the second period when the Stars took the 3-0 lead. So not a pleasant experience here for Flyers fans. They did get a goal and they came alive a little bit with a chance of making a comeback, but there's some tough things going on here tonight. And it's not like New York where it doesn't really matter. You're going to get a full sellout and they're going to go crazy. There was booing there too, but at least they're filling the seats. Tonight was rough here. I will be honest about that.
Sean, do you have any recommendations for Sam around Wells Fargo Center, or is it all Center City for you?
Well, my go-to place is a place called Burns Wings, and so I don't know if Sam went there yet or not, but Burns Wings is the place I would go to. That's a little bit near one of the shipyards, actually, so I can't remember the exact spot, but it's Burns Wings. Look it up. I also think if we're going to keep, I think we have to have at least one person who watches.
T Farmer said Burns is dope.
It is. So I think if we're going to talk all about Sam and the plumbing, like there's got to be some local DFW plumber that is going to sponsor like
plumbing
Sam,
and heating. Yes,
like get me we need to find Sam a plumbing sponsor, because if he's gonna wear this all the time.
We got to let our sales staff know about this. This is great.
Like,
speaking of plumbing,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Luds, you played back when their home in Philadelphia was the Spectrum. And I did AHL games there for several years before they closed it down. And that was a lot more of a character building than most of the NHL arenas today, which are very, cookie cutter, all feel sort of have a similar vibe. What are some of the things as you get to see Sam in the big building at Wells Fargo that you can recall from the Spectrum back in the day?
Man, when you stepped on the ice and you heard the song "Welcome to the Jungle," level 10, and they were already throwing stuff at you, and then you look across and there's Big E, Lindros kind of skating around, just kind of hovering. So, it wasn't probably as bad as it was in the 70s, when they were the Broad Street Bullies, but they sure tried to carry that torch for a long way. Every time you were in that building, you knew it was, you were in for trouble. I think everybody, Sean will definitely remember the Chelios and Hextall fight.
Yeah.
That was in Philly. That was during the playoffs. I think it was too. And so, it was one of them games that you didn't sleep well in the afternoon. And it was the only places, what is it, the fair or something that they have in there? We would have to play 11 a.m. games.
Oh, no. Was it the circus?
Maybe it was the circus.
Yeah, they had a circus at the
Spectrum. It was a circus every time we played there, but there was something going on there. It just wasn't something that you look forward to.
We actually, when we played the Philadelphia Phantoms in the playoffs back in 2007-08, so it was the 08 playoffs in the AHL, we actually played our Philadelphia part of the series at Wells Fargo Center, because I think it was still called the FU Center at the time, First Union, which was the perfect name for a night in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
But we played at the big NHL building instead of the Spectrum because the circus was in town, and that was in early April. So, and Sean, by the way, that was also the scene of when I was hanging out in the hotel gym with Ron Francis, and he was on the recumbent bike reading the collective bargaining agreement printed out.
A little light reading.
My God. Yes. Back when Ronnie was an assistant GM with the Hurricanes. Sam, one of the talking points that we had tonight was about the way that Mavrik Bourque sort of consolidated the play, right? In tennis, when you break serve on your opponent, you consolidate the break by winning your next service game, so you don't give it right back. In tonight's game, after a great game against the Rangers, Bourque had another really good, noticeable game, and he strung two together, and that's something that you and Pete DeBoer were talking about in the morning skate today.
Yeah, Pete talked a lot about it. I asked him specifically about Mavrik Bourque, and then just in general, younger players. Pete always used to answer when I was back in Dallas before this time around. I'd always ask, what did you see from blank, young player, someone who maybe came into the lineup after being scratched? And he'd always say, yeah, he was good. Now do it again. And he was very quick to say, you got to show me more than once. And that's what he said again today. He said, young players, specifically Bourque, need to put together two games, not just in general to get confidence and build off of it, but because you can't just put yourself up one, down one, up one, down one. It's going to kill your confidence, and it's going to put you in a spot where you're always thinking that you're going to get scratched. And that's because you are always going to be on that bottom line here, where if they need someone scratched or benched, you're going to be the guy. And that's a really tough place to play. It's a tough place for a coach because he doesn't want to necessarily put you out there as much. Tonight, Mavrik Bourque built on that excellently, and we spoke to him after as well, and he said it's simple stuff. Nothing groundbreaking here. He said the more engaged I am, the more puck touches I get, the more confidence I get, and that all builds on each other. And that's just simple hockey, right? You think about when you're not playing well, you don't feel like you're ever touching the puck. You feel like you're circling a lot. You're not necessarily touching the puck. You're not getting engaged in battles. And we talked about it with me and Luds a bunch in the past few shows of when Mavrik Bourque or Nils Lundqvist or any of those guys are 100% confident, you can see it because they go that extra foot or extra inch into battles, extra inch or two towards the front of the net. And I mean, tell me that goal from Bourque wasn't exactly what Sean and all of us talked about so much over the summer with Mavrik Bourque, the 200-foot game, the playing smart in front of your own net, using your speed to get up the ice, going hard to the paint and getting your stick on a puck, where we might have seen him not go to that area at all, or if he does, easily get his stick lifted out of the way and the puck goes through the crease. And that to me is the big difference, and it's very understandable. Mavrik Bourque actually said he hadn't heard that from Pete DeBoer. They hadn't really communicated that to him yet as much as we had kind of noticed it. But internally, he had known that himself and said he wanted to play back-to-back, and now he wants to string together three. So as I've said before, this team is much better if Mavrik Bourque and Logan Stankoven can just go up one notch. They don't have to be amazing. Just take it up one notch. Mavrik Bourque's doing it right now.
Did you tell
185? We've got him as a 185-foot player.
Yeah. Did you then tell him, Sam, that Mavrik could just watch our show if he needed the proper instructions?
I should have. Guys, let's just listen. We know what we're doing here.
Sam, I do have to ask you that question real quick, and then we've got to pause here in 60 seconds. But you've been on the road here for 2 games, and that's a different experience, not only for you, but also for the Stars, because, we don't have a huge traveling media contingent. Obviously, Hike is there, but he works for the team. Have you noticed anything different in your interactions in New York and Philly because you've been there in a much smaller media scrum with the players and coaches?
They're very relaxed on the road. It's a lot less, maybe at post game, not so much because they're trying to get to the next city, especially when they have to catch a flight like they do at Montreal tonight. But it's just a different vibe. There's not that feeling, not that they're always trying to get out of there and get away from us a ton, but when you're on the road,
they are.
Yeah, okay, they are fair. Good. I didn't want to say it, but yes. But here it just feels like they're more relaxed and they're having a good time. I'll tell you that. Obviously, it helps when you're winning, but the room is just very upbeat. They're playing music. They're throwing stuff at each other. Colin Blackwell's trying to bank tape balls off my head into the garbage can. Me and Casey DeSmith are talking about his pipes freezing. It just feels very relaxed, and I think that's why some teams are so good on the road when the Stars were so good on the road last year. And it's because Sean got some fireworks going on.
John, what are you doing?
But
I think that's the signal that we have to pause for just a minute. So with that being in mind, thank you to everyone who joined on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod and check out alldls.com. Okay, Sam, right back to your point.
Yeah, but you're right. It really does feel you get a lot of the team stuff, and that's what Luds knows, and even you guys playing beer league, and Sean, when you played competitively, the team and the room was usually the best part, and that was my favorite part of playing hockey. It's what I miss the most of not playing anymore, is the brotherhood, the fun in the room, the competitiveness in practice, and that's when it comes out on the road, because there's so many fewer distractions, and we know Luds hates distractions, and that's what a home thing brings. You get more media, you get more attention, you're doing a lot more video and things like that, and you just feel that, and it's really fun to watch this team have fun. I will say that, and it's just a good group. So when they are rolling, especially when they're winning as well, it's a really fun time, and I'm really glad I got to come on these 2 games here.
If so, Sam and Casey DeSmith talking about pipes, like all of the plumbing sponsorships are right there. Like,
not those pipes, all right?
All
not
of
those
your
pipes.
HVAC and your Roto-Rooter
it's
needs.
all right there.
Let's, was that the thing you missed the most once you retired, was the guys in the room? Everybody seems to, that's a pretty constant theme.
Yeah, you know, I think every guy that retires is going to say that. You know, that's what you look forward to every day. Tomorrow I'm going to be with some guys at 1 o'clock, you know, and so, and it doesn't even have to be guys that you played with. It could be, you know, guys that you're playing with now, or guys that you formerly played against that are now in that little thing that we do. Because there's always the stories. I mean, even if you don't spend as much time with guys like that anymore, but the stories are still there. You know, I mean, they still come out. And again, I try to tell the young guys all the time, you know, is when you guys walk through these doors and you're coming from school or your job or whatever, but once you get in this building and you walk into that building, and then you're between your locker room and the rink, this thing that you're encompassed by, everything else outside will be there when you're done here. In an hour and a half, 2 hours from now, you'll be here. But in here, this is your sanctuary. This is where you just and you just get to work in it. You kind of escape. And so that's what we all look forward to.
And I got to say, I'm not taking anything away from other sports. I played football and lacrosse as well, but hockey was always different. It really was. It was a different vibe. I stayed in the locker room till the last minute when everybody was leaving after practices. I was there early. We practiced at 5 a.m. and I'd get there at 4:30 so I could mess around with guys in the locker room and do fun stuff on the ice early. It just doesn't.
That didn't come out right.
Yeah, sorry. I'm still thinking about the pipes comment and trying to make sure I don't go back down the plumbing.
I'm on right now.
All right, boys. Have a good night.
Oh man,
it's been a long day. All right. Anyway, hockey rules. Go Stars.
Way to go, Sammy. Sean, I want to give you a chance to respond to Ardell, because he put in the chat, if it was Sean, Owen would have cut him off. Neuter is soft on crime with Nestler at 59 minutes.
Well,
do you feel that to be true?
I'm going to read the chat.
I probably, but that's not a battle worth fighting right now.
Oh, man. Net front. Ardell goes, Sam was a net front problem. I'm not going to read the rest of it.
Dang right.
All right. We have 2 super chats to get to, and then we have Lud's Herman Marshall Marquee the moment, quick man of the match, as we go a little long here, but that's okay. We're all in our abodes except for Sam. He probably has to catch a train or maybe even jump on the old Orange Line subway back into Center City in Philadelphia. All right, Sam.
No, I'm driving back to Jersey.
Sam, by the way, Court said, oh, God, Sam, that one is going to be clipped for infinity.
Yeah, it happens.
All right. So, super chats.
Bing
we have a couple
bang.
more to go, and they're both from Michael Moore. The first one, a little Madonna and Stanley Cup year. Stars are playing great, but that said, so are the Avs Kings. That almost looks like Kings.
I think that says Knights. I think that's just supposed to say Knights.
Is that Kings and Knights combined?
I think it's
or
just,
is it just
I think it's just a typo for Knights.
Avs, Knights, and Jets. The top lines we have, are they enough to win the West, or do we need that forward/D man? What do you think, Luds?
Well, I think it always comes down to depth. So, I mean, if you look at the Avs, the Jets now, I think they're a little closer to a 4-line, you know what I mean? 6 defensemen, maybe not the defenseman that the Vegas Golden Knights have. I've always thought that they've got a real good group of 6 that they have there. But I think that if you look at the Avs, I think you match up because your top 2 lines can kind of neutralize their top 2 at times. And But then I think the one that overcomes everything is the goaltending. You know, the Avs don't have a Jake Ottinger. They don't have a Connor Hellebuck. You know, so I think that's where things get slanted a little bit.
I would say that
Go ahead, John.
I would say the Stars are in the spot where I think, and I've said this before, like I think their roster is good enough to win the West as constructed, but your odds improve if you add it. And I think that's the way I look at it. And I think you could say similar things about a lot of teams in the West, and that's what's going to make the playoffs this year really fun across the board. And yeah,
Bing bang.
All right, let's go to the other one, also from Michael Moore. This time it's a Heiskanen N99 Cup year. Shout out to Jason Robertson. He was taking a lot of heat, but has turned it on and looks like Robo, now second on the team in points. Sam, he has, with 2 assists tonight, he has 11, 3 goals, 8 assists in his last 7 games. And that sounds like a Jason Robertson segment.
Playing with confidence. We mentioned confidence over and over again, but for these type of guys, especially that like to score goals and get points, confidence is everything. And we've seen Robo when he was struggling, and it just looked like he wasn't getting the puck. And when he was super quick to chip it off, you know, like Sammy Baby chipping it off the boards to get a change in. But really, when he has it, he holds on to it. And everybody seems to be holding on to the puck for that extra second and making sure that they have extra space. Wyatt Johnston did a ton tonight where he just took that extra bit of time and moved it around a very weak check and put what is Lutz doing right now.
Well, I'm taking a picture of Sean right now because when he stays just like that, it looks like he's got a little Kiera on his head.
Oh, he's got the little plant up there.
There's the plant.
That's nice. It looks like
I'm
a
getting dumb pictures of me all the time. I just wanted to be able to.
Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we talked about a bunch, we kept thinking that right wing spot was the problem on the top line, and Todanoff has helped them a lot. He's so creative and so skilled, but really it was once Robo got a little bit more confidence, that line was going probably no matter who was on that right wing.
Well,
a good podiatrist will do wonders, won't it? So.
Oh, here we go again. I'm going to give it off, pass it off to Luds here for the Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. Pick up your favorite bottle at your closest goody liquor store. Luds, what's your moment tonight?
The 185 footer. 185 footer, Mavrik Bourque.
I landed that, eh?
Focus, Sam, focus.
Sorry, I landed that water bottle first try.
Oh, my God.
I've never done that before. I was excited. Big win for me tonight.
That was my marquee moment, was Mavrik Bourque in front of this net, scoring that. Okay.
Yep. No, that was huge. And we will do a read now that Sam derailed us even further. For every bottle of single barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas. For those who went before, stop in to your closest goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. All right, Luds, I'm going to let you go first.
Out gummies in Philly tonight as people were coming in, or?
Well, actually, that reminds me, before we get to our man of the match, Sam, you've been in New Jersey for a couple of days, in New York and Philly. Say the word water, please.
Water.
Ugh, it's totally.
I don't actually say that.
Yeah, you do.
I don't. No, I don't.
I feel like water. The Jersey is coming out in your accent over the last 48 to 72 hours.
How dare you? That's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me.
All right, it's water. John sent us a thing. It's water. No, it's water.
It's water.
It's water. It's water.
W-U.
Water. It's water.
Water.
It's water.
I'm just normal. It's just water.
Water.
Hard.
All right, Luds. I think the guys stole your man of the match the other night, so I'm going to let you go first.
No, I'm going to go. Probably nobody else will pick him. I'm going with Casey DeSmith. He didn't have to be spectacular, but I thought he was good at the times he needed to be.
A luxury is what they called him, just like Scott Wedgwood was. He's a luxury to be able to come in and rest Jake Ottinger.
Sam, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with exactly who I picked last game, which is Mavrik Bourque. I just think he's so important to this team, and every time he has a good game, it's big for them. So I'm going to go with 22 again.
Sean?
Let's go with Sam Steele. I think there was, I think tonight him playing the most minutes of any forward is a good reflection of both a reward for him and what he's done and everything like that. And so I want to give Sam Steele a bit of a moment here tonight.
You actually took my pick, Sean. So bravo to you. I like it.
Nice.
So I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to say somebody I have not picked yet this year, Matt Dumba. I thought Matt Dumba actually looked better in both ends of the ice, including getting up the ice, using his skating. Luds, we talked about it in the game 1 or 2 of the year. Hey, he's a pretty good skater. We haven't seen it a lot, maybe because of the injury, but I thought that he showed that, and he was a big part of creating that Mavrik Bourque goal at the beginning. So I'm going to go with Dumba with a little love tonight.
So everybody out there that's booing Owen right now, he was my number 2. Honestly, he was my number 2.
There you go.
I don't think he deserved the first penalty that he got. The second one was even questionable. He got his butt up ice, like you said. He broke up a couple plays. He had to recover. He got kind of stumbled a little bit. He got tied up with someone on the defensive blue line, and he still found a way to recover to get back to his own net and break up a pass going across there. So I thought he was good, all things considered.
Two things about Dumba, one funny one and one real one. One, I texted you guys, he changed and he turned to sit on the bench, and somehow he went over the back of the bench into the tunnel, which I just thought was hilarious. But the positive and the real thing was we talked to Dumba afterwards, and he said, look, I know that I wasn't great. I know it took me a while. He was talking about completely understanding that he took a while to learn the system, especially with the injuries. And he said he's starting to feel like he knows the system really well now, and his game is coming. And as much as we've not hated, but as much as we've criticized and other people have criticized, if he could bring more to this team, it solves a problem. It really does. We had him slotted in there, maybe playing with Heiskanen or on the second pair with Lindell. He answers some questions if he can bring a little bit more offense and a little more stability. So I'm all for it.
I have one question I have to toss out from the chat, because somebody was railing earlier tonight in our post-game show about the 3 stars of the game, which were picked by the PhiladelphiaFlyers.com group. And they were upset that Morgan Frost, who scored the only goal for Philly, was named the number 3 star. The first star tonight was aptly picked, Mavrik Bourque. Miro Heiskanen was the number 2 star. And so my question to the panel is, and we'll start with Sean this time, if you were to pick the 3rd star tonight, or any of them other than Morgan Frost, who would you have put in, since the chat was not happy with the way the Flyers did it?
I have to go with the same first 2, though.
You don't have to.
Because I would have kept Mavrik Bourque number 1 there, but I would have gone with, we just went with our men of the match right here. I would have gone with Mavrik Bourque. I would have gone with Casey DeSmith, and I probably would have gone with Sam Steele. And so that's what I would have gone with. That's
Sam?
Also, yeah.
I might throw a jamiebenn in there. I think he had a really good game tonight. But I think we're looking deeper than the 3 stars normally do. But that would be who I'd maybe toss in there. But I agree with Sean.
Luds, I know you always roll your eyes when we talk about this, and so feel free to do it again. But Stars dominate this one. They win 4-1. Does a Flyer deserve to be one of the 3 stars?
No, if you would have asked me, I'd have said anybody that didn't have a Philly jersey on. I mean, I don't think anybody stood out. I mean, I like Travis Konechny. I think Konechny's a heck of a player. You know, he rang one off the bar, I think, once tonight. But they just have unfortunate for the fans and for the coach, they just have a mediocre blah kind of club right now.
My last question is Matveimichkov, our first chance of seeing him in person, Sam, or for us watching during a Stars game. I didn't really notice him very much. He had a couple of chances in the 3rd period. Sean talked about that one where he tried to beat Casey DeSmith from a really tight angle from the left wing corner. But Luds, he was not that noticeable for much of this hockey game. The thing that most stood out to me was that moment in the 3rd period where he and Logan Stankoven came together and kind of glared at each other, which I enjoyed.
Well, I'd say if people are on the fence with the top 3 or 4 guys in order, I think now, and you see these 2 guys playing against each other, now you know why we feel the way we do about Logan. Not that Logan had an incredible game tonight. He just had another Logan Stankoven. You know what I mean? He just does the right things. He didn't put the puck in the net. But no, Michkov, nothing for me tonight.
It was similar to when I saw him in person a couple weeks back, and I was talking to someone in Philly about it. It's the spot where they said for all, and this was someone from Philly, they were admitted, like, for all of the highlight reel and the YouTube videos they'll be able to build out, there's a lot of games you watch and you'll be like, wait, isn't he playing? There are a lot of games he has like that. And For me, it's something where his game is going to be fascinating. The long-term growth for me with Michkov is going to be fascinating. Is he going to be that guy that impacts the game regularly when it's not a unique situation? He thrives on the power play. He thrives in 3-on-3. He thrives when the number of men on the ice is altered one way or the other. Is he going to be able to be that person and that impact player at 5-on-5 in his career? And I don't know the answer to that. And that to me is the long-term test that Flyers fans and Philadelphia will definitely be monitoring to see what he becomes.
Sam, I have a question for you. Is Logan Stankoven ever going to score again? Because he had that chance on the empty net that got denied from, I think it was center ice. And I just, it's a new one every night, isn't it?
It is. It is. I know that as soon as that one, me and Mike went down early to make sure we didn't miss the room here. And we were watching the TV right outside the room, and he got it on his backhand. And Mike, we could see Mike just, get excited that it was actually going to happen, because we all want it to happen. It feels like once he gets one, he's going to get a few more. And he's gone on some streaks before, but you're right. It's every time he's creating chances. That's all you can ask for, right? Just keep sticking with it.
Fellas, we're out of time. We've gone way over.
Damn.
But Luddy, you get the last word, because the Stars will go to Montreal. They'll play the Canadiens on Saturday night. It's a hockey night in Canada at not the Forum, but the Bell Center. And it's a 5:30 pregame show Central Time, 6 o'clock puck drop. What should the Stars expect as they head north to play the Canadiens on Saturday?
They're going to face a better team than they've faced in the last 3 or 4 years that they've gone in there. And they're going to probably face a really good crowd, because the crowd is always good. But right now they believe that there's a team that possibly can get into the playoffs, which they're all dying for. So I think every team that goes in there, especially when you don't get to play them on a regular basis 3-4 times a year, they're excited to go play in Montreal, just like they are playing Toronto. It's a big trip for them. A couple of them cities.
Don't forget, we get a Patrick Laine sighting on Saturday too, Sean.
Hey.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
If he shows out, you know that the front office will be thinking a little bit more positively about him as well. Well, Sam, you are not going to Montreal, I believe, but we will get to see you for our shows over the weekend. Sean, I believe we will see you next week, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
And Luds, we're here every night.
Hey, DLS fans, keep an eye on. Sean and I have some writing coming this weekend, so you won't be seeing Sean, but you'll be hearing from him.
Do you want to tease anything, or is that the tease?
Sean?
We're going to go a little bit further into some of the Casey DeSmith stuff for tomorrow. We're going to pull some video and go through some of the things we talked about on the show with his save selection stuff. So we'll go through a little bit more with that, with some video breakdown and story tomorrow. So that's one thing for tomorrow to look forward to. And I know Sam, I think, has got a pretty good feature coming at some point this weekend too. And I'll let him decide whether he wants to tease more of that or not, but I know it's going to be good.
You just wait.
Sam, you said to us earlier that you've had some people say that they've missed some of the articles because they haven't gotten an alert about it. What's the best way for them to make sure that they don't miss a Dallas Stars article?
Yeah, well, Twitter is going to be our biggest. We're going to post that. I'll post them. Sean will post them, and the DLS page will post them, and make sure you guys all retweet as much as possible, or repost, whatever you call it, and then bookmark our page as well, our homepage, and then the newsletter that we have that comes out 3 times a week is available. If you sign up on our website, you can get a lot of articles sent directly to your email as well.
And the Discord. This is why you should be a diehard. You get into the Discord where Sam will post it, where articles will be posted, and you'll get reminders, and it'll be in the Discord, and then you can talk to your lovely other Discordians about it.
Boy, our writers know the best words.
We nailed it. Nailed it.
You guys are making Luddy sound more and more like a Rhodes Scholar every single day.
I love it.
Luds, enjoy the rest of your pillar of fire tonight. And I think we're probably going to be in the studio on Saturday.
Damn.
I know. This is fun. I enjoyed this. Well, for Craig Ludwig, for the botanist himself, Sean Shapiro, for Sam, don't call it water.
Alfalfa. That's what he reminds me of.
Alfalfa. That's what it was. But for Mr. Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk. Thank you to our producer, John Anderson. Couldn't put himself on the screen as much tonight, but he kept us all together on a remote broadcast. Well done, John. And thank you very much for all your super chats, your regular chats, all the support. Don't forget to tell your friends because we are growing and you can help with that. And yes, apparently Sean is growing some illegal plants as well. The question is from T Farmer, is it kosher?
Well, to be fair, it's not illegal in the state I'm sitting in. So.
There you go.
Or this state.
All right. See you later. Go Stars. It is now a 6-game winning streak.
We all silly like the mayor.